My name is Marissa McDonagh and I am a lecturer in economics, and today I'm going to take you through the two masters that we have within the Department of Economics and Law. And these two masters are our Master of International Economic and Social Justice and also our LLM. So that's our International Commercial Law Masters of Law. So as Katie is saying, my colleague Katie, in the chat section, please feel free to contribute with any questions or any kind of thoughts that you have, and we'll come back to them at the end and try and help. Okay, so you'll be interested in studying at Glasgow Caledonian University. Glasgow is a really exciting kind of student-centred city. It's a relatively small city, but we've got 4 leading universities within that city. So there's a real culture of research and studying. The city boasts a vibrant art, music culture, and it's known for its friendly people and its industrial heritage, which you can see all throughout the city. It's famous for its shipbuilding, and down at the Clydeside, there's still a lot of kind of functioning businesses and a lot of opportunities for employment in those areas. The city is an ideal location. We hear it every year for international students because we've got excellent public transport links, and it's also best placed as a location to access the rest of the UK and Europe relatively quickly and cheaply. At GCU, we are in the heart of the city. We're a real city centre, high-tech campus, and we have a real vocational orientation. So all of our courses are focused on helping you enter into graduate life with the most kind of tangible industry experience and industry outlook. And that kind of translate for us in terms of data, and that 95% of our graduates are in employment or in higher education within 6 months of leaving, which has a real kind of lead in the sector for their education. Our international student community is a happy one. We have our student support is award winning, and our kind of student satisfaction rates are always very high, if not kind of full satisfaction. So you can rest assured if you come to Glasgow and study at GCU, you'll be well looked after. So within our department, so we are in the business school and we have the Department of Economics and Law. Now within that, we offer a Bachelor of Laws or LLB, and also 2 postgraduate courses that you're here to listen to today. So our MSc in International Economic and Social Justice, which I teach on myself, and our LLM in International Commercial Law. The LLB is a professionally recognised degree in Scotland. Our undergrad is accredited by the Law Society Scotland, and it consistently receives outstanding NSS scores, which I'll talk to you about later, but that's our way of kind of collecting the student voice in an anonymous survey that's done across the UK, and our undergraduate LLB consistently scores 99 or 100% satisfaction, and it really reflects the quality of teaching and also the opportunities that we provide our students within the law environment. Within the department, there's a number of areas covered, which really kind of comes across in the LLM. The GCU Law Clinic is a real kind of USP, a unique kind of thing to GCU Learn. It's 10 years old now, it celebrated its 10-year anniversary, and it's a student-led legal advice and assistance hub where we provide general kind of assistance and guidance to the public who otherwise don't have the means to access it, and it gives students real kind of on-the-ground experience dealing with legal issues from a range of kind of legal, it could be, kind of domestic disputes with neighbours, or it can go to sort of immigration and visa issues affecting the public in Glasgow. And what the Law Clinic does, because it is student-led, is voluntary, it really exemplifies the values that we hold dear at GCU, which is our commitment to the common good, which translates in a number of ways, but within the Department of Economics and Law, it really reflects the focus that we have on social justice. So the Masters in International Economic and Social Justice reflects all the kind of areas of teaching that we have within the department. We cover migration, the rise of populism, we cover feminist economics, the kind of inequality gap that we see emerge. And this is also translated in the LLM, which, although is kind of focused on law and legal issues, those legal issues really reflect current kind of contemporary legal and economic, the political economy issues that are really important and only kind of rising. And they are important not just for us as scholars, but also for the kind of industry community as well, as we see a lot of tensions and changes in the geopolitical landscape. So two very topical and interesting degrees with a lot of kind of compatibility with what's required just now. So to begin with, we'll talk about the International Economic and Social Justice degree. So when you're studying the MSc in International and Economic Social Justice, you will be entering into a real vibrant and research community, which has a lot of kind of sector leading research personalities and projects going on. It's a master's degree which is research centre led, which means that you're linked in immediately with a huge postgraduate community. We've got a number of PhD students, research students, and a number of research grants which facilitate our research projects in a number of areas linked in with this MSc. So you can really see the sort of research in action and see the impact on policy, both domestically in Scotland, but also internationally. So the course makes extensive use of the skills and knowledge that we have within the department, which is really kind of spearheaded by the Women in Scottish Economics Centre, the WISE Centre, which has a number of academics based within the departments of economics and law, but also further afield within the business school. So all of the modules on the Masters are designed to ensure that a broad range of subjects are covered and that they're taught by leading experts in the fields of feminist economics, which is more sort of about gender. It's more about kind of gender and socioeconomic inclusion now. So we look at kind of income inequality, but also care, the care economy, the gig economy. It's really prevalent now, not just in the global south, but also looking kind of domestically as well. The whole Masters has a real kind of global outlook. We look at topics such as migration, as I mentioned, the kind of rise of populism that we've seen in the geopolitical landscape, and we kind of look towards budgeting issues, both from the UK perspective, but comparatively in different countries and continents around the world. Now, with this Masters, there's opportunities to include your professional practice. So you can add on the professional practice year. We've got 3 students currently who have research roles advising the Scottish Government on women in budgeting. And they're international students who are working in those areas, and that's all through links within the department. So there really is a whole host of opportunities, not just within the research centre itself, but with a broader outlook to working in government and policy-based roles. Now this is the structure of the programme that you will cover. So every module is worth 15 credits, so they're all kind of equal in weighting, except from your master's research project, which some of you will know as a dissertation. With our dissertation, so you do that at the kind of end of your teaching, so you will do your modules first, and it's the same structure throughout the business school. But in trimester A, when you join us, hopefully, you will do the global political economy, which I teach on, and it kind of looks at broad areas in the contemporary kind of political economy and from a real accessible perspective. we don't look at economics from sort of orthodox perspective. There's no maths, and we look at it from a much more meaningful, heterodox perspective, where we look at we take a holistic view of the economy, and we look at it as people rather than just numbers, um, as a way to tackle inequality and different kind of contemporary issues. Economics of inequality, again, kind of similar themes of social injustice. We bring in a lot of kind of guest lectures, so you get a real kind of flavour for the fields that you would go into with a degree in this area. Economics as a discipline is a real kind of transferable degree. Most businesses will take on economic graduates, but it's also the same from a government kind of policy role perspective. It really kind of aligns with a lot of the teaching and skills that you will access. Realising rights in practice, again, much more in the social justice kind of area, kind of human rights. It brings in a lot of kind of international perspectives, and a lot of you will bring in your own country kind of experience, and we can compare that to a lot of the domestic teaching that really provides an interesting module for students. Students really enjoy the RRP module. Then we've got the ethics, governance, and responsible leadership, which are our kind of big catch-all modules. So you will be in with students from a number of programs, and that really gives you that sort of community feel, but also that kind of shared experience. And you'll get to meet students from all over, studying different programs, and also kind of working on projects together. It's another one that gets really good feedback. Then as you enter trimester B, you'll start with feminist economics, which is now known as um, gender economics and gender and socio-economic inclusion. So it's much kind of more broader outlook. You do get the theoretical underpinning from kind of the emergence of feminist economics, but it's applied to a much more international, kind of globally aligned setting. Then you will do a migration module. So migration, governance and globalisation. And that is led by one of our kind of internationally renowned professors, Umit Kirkut, in this area. He really is an expert in the area, and he runs a number of really kind of high profile projects tackling the rise of populism and radicalisation. It's a really interesting module, and as I say, it's very much research led, and it often sort of plants a seed for our students who then go on to study something similar for their own dissertation, because they can really see the themes that are touched upon in the module within their own country setting. Then public policy analysis, another kind of one on the social justice area, is a really good module that's led by some social scientists in the school, so it gives you that kind of different perspective. Then we have the applied professional practice, which students can do, which gives you that industry experience. Then in trimester C, you will be given a supervisory team. So you'll get your kind of lead supervisor, and they were really hands-on. You will develop a real kind of one-to-one relationship with them. They'll guide you and support you, but it's also a sort of two-way kind of relationship. My current dissertation students, I've got one from Kenya. I can see Tony is from Kenya, and I've got a lovely student from Kenya just now who's almost ready to submit their dissertation, and they're looking at the rise of fintech as a tool to tackle income inequality in Kenya. Really interesting perspective, and they've brought so much kind of industry knowledge and experience to this project. So yeah, the dissertation kind of culminates your studies, as it does for all masters, but within our kind of department, because there is so much kind of expertise, students always comment on the support and guidance that they get and the time that's spent with their supervisor. So that is kind of the structure of the MSc. Again, if you get any specific questions about that, just don't hesitate to either add a question in or email us at a later date. Okay, so that brings us on to the LLM. So that is your kind of law, your master's in law, and it's exciting and it's a bit innovative. It's relatively new, and I think it's about 3 years old. we've got two kind of really successful graduating cohorts. We've got lots of alumni success stories. Again, it's one of those masters that are really kind of transferable to a number of positions um, within the kind of legal field. So it offers students a unique and enriching experience, and it has been created and developed alongside employer feedback and from students. Are kind of because we do have the undergrad in law as well, we kind of met a lot of their demand, um, and we drew upon the sort of multidisciplinary feel and expertise that I think leads to a really kind of exciting masters. So students from a number of academic and professional backgrounds come into our masters. It's a whole mix. We've got students from engineering backgrounds, from social science, from international business, from law itself, different capacities, even marketing, because as you know, all businesses require that kind of legal and regulatory understanding and be able to kind of apply the expertise to the regulatory environment. But it really is an interdisciplinary approach to the learning experience and also the learning community. The feedback we've had that students really enjoy being in the class, um, with all different backgrounds and different experience, different nationalities, and that's reflected in the teaching. So the evolving nature of regulatory environments, especially now in 2025, when we're seeing a lot of kind of political change globally, students kind of look into a whole host of areas like trade that's just kind of constantly evolving. So the teaching has to really evolve too. And graduates are able to pursue a wide range of professions in law and international trade firms, but also just within different businesses and organisations, from the finance sector, even fashion. We've had students enter into kind of regulatory positions within government regulators, but also within private businesses. So it's a real transferable, interesting degree. This is your programme structure. So you'll see that the programmes are all structured the same. Every module's worth 15 credits, and then that culminates within your final module, your master's research project, which is 45 credits. So you will do your legal skills, research, and technology for business. It's a real kind of hands-on module where you'll develop a whole host of skills that you can really kind of transfer into the workplace, really relevant skills. And we look at AI. It's really exciting, that module, and as I say, it's constantly evolving to meet the demand of industry. Then you've got the law of international business, which is more theoretical, but really looks into the sort of institutions and contemporary regulatory environments that shape international business. Again, it's a module where you're joined alongside the global political economy. You're joined by students from different programs, so you get that real kind of feeling for the different perspectives on law. Ethics, governance, and responsible leadership. As I mentioned previously, it's one of those modules that everyone takes, and it's sort of contextualised to the law kind of area of study. Then you've got international trade and the WTO, which is just becoming a more and more exciting module given the kind of context of global trade and kind of trade tensions that have emerged. So there's a real focus on sort of the role of the US and China and the developments of the WTO kind of historically, but their role now as a sort of overstretched regulator and what can be done. Then we've got postgrad research methods, which really prepares you for your master's project, so you get all the skills. And a lot of our LLM students are interested because their background hasn't been in law. They want to know about, a kind of law dissertation and the requirements of that. So often they'll look at stats more in depth than they've done in previous study, or it'll be looking at more kind of qualitative approach to research. So it just depends on your idea for your project, but postgrad research method is really contextualised to your LLM. Then you've got international investment law, so again, a real kind of transferable module. A lot of the skills and the expertise that you will access on that module will be applicable, especially in the kind of interview setting, because it brings in a lot of kind of contemporary challenges. Then you get to pick an option module that changes, and they're from a whole host of other programmes. Due to the kind of transferability of the LLM programme and the range of undergrads, the range of kind of bachelor degrees that attracts students, sometimes go for something completely different, or they'll go for something that aligns more with their previous study, but you get that option. Then, as I said, you've got your master's research project, which will be guided by an expert from the law faculty, and then the option to do your professional practice, which is an industry placement in year 2 if you wanted to be here for the 2 years. So just to kind of retouch on the nature of the Department of Economics and Law, it really is a department that is buzzing with research kind of involvement from external and internal to the university expertise. Excels internationally. We've got huge strengths within the WISE Centre, the Reach Out activity in the Law Clinic, and then the work of the DRAD project, which is the kind of migration project, which looks into the rise of populism and just the sort of economic impact of migration. It's a really relevant ongoing project. The WISE Research Centre consistently showcases the importance of a feminist economic perspective on lots of different issues within economics, and as I said, it really kind of impacts on policy making. So it's really exciting to be involved in a master's with links, real tangible links to the research centre. And we've had students who have progressed from the Masters in Economic and Social Justice into our research centre with research positions. So it's a really exciting and growing postgrad community currently. As I said, we've got staff represented from 15 countries, and 2 of our current staff are graduates from MSc, now doing scholarship funded PhDs. So the DRAD project into kind of migration is led by Professor Kirkut, and he's also he features a lot on the Masters in Economic and Social Justice. He really helped with the development, and he supervises a number of students as well. But he's looking at the kind of study of radicalisation, increasing polarisation in Europe and beyond. Now, the NSS, which I mentioned, is our kind of barometer of student satisfaction. It's done anonymously and externally, and the results that we have from our programme are really excellent. They're consistently high across all areas, but really notably high around the areas of teaching. So 98% around teaching on my course, and then 100% satisfaction in response to the following 3 questions. How good are staff at explaining things, which is so important. We know that for many of you, you've been out of study for a while, or there may be a slight language barrier. We really kind of take that into account, and explaining things, making it accessible, pitching it at the right level is key to what we do within the Department of Economics and Law. Then, how do staff make the subject engaging? Again, I think the nature of what we do being applied to policy making decisions and just seeing it in the world around us. So simple questions like, why are we taxed? Where does our tax go in the UK? We really have involvement in those policy decisions, in policy processes, so it can make it really a lot more tangible and engaging. And then how often is the course intellectually stimulating? So for 100% of students to find that that was always the case is really kind of reflective of the quality of teaching that goes on. So it's a significant indicator that students are satisfied with the programme, and it's something that we only want to continue. Again, this is the WISE Centre, which has a real kind of international reputation. Excuse me. The director of WISE, Professor Sarah Cantillon, she has emeritus status now at the university. She is the president-elect of the International Association for Feminist Economics. And last year they held their annual conference in South Africa. It was really successful, and we're hoped to be joined by a few students from South Africa next year or the year following that, because it was a real showcase for a lot of the kind of work that's done in this area, but also the job opportunities and just the sort of social inclusion element that's crucial to all economies for progression. So, as I said earlier, both of our masters, GCU is fully focused on employability. It's a kind of coherent stream that runs throughout all of our teaching. Focus on employability skills help students to kind of embody that civic-minded common good element to our studies, but also kind of making an impact on wider society. The degrees allow students to undertake roles within both the public and the private sector, as well as third sector organisations. And as I mentioned previously, we have a lot of links, so it's something we can support with. You'll be supported throughout your journey by a personal tutor, a programme leader, and all the different module staff, module leaders and tutors. And then the university has a wider support team. So again, it's something that students consistently feedback on. They feel supported. It's a big change, especially when you're leaving family and home behind to come here. So we're really aware of that. We're aware of the kind of feelings that you'll have and the support that you'll require, not just in terms of academic, but your sort of pastoral support as you enter into a whole new world. And this is just one of our success stories that I decided to pick today. This is Femi, Femi. He is a Nigerian student who graduated in 2023, and he is now currently studying at a highly prestigious University of Massachusetts. And he was helped, that was a fully funded PhD studentship, which he got from his excellent kind of when he graduated from the MIESG, so the Masters in Economic Social Justice. He won from there was a number of applicants worldwide, and Femi was successful. And this was his kind of quote. He said that the opportunity would not have been possible without the unique tutelage and mentorship that he received at GCU under the guidance of Professor Umit Kirkut. He said the Department of Economics and Law provided me with unparalleled support, fostering an environment where faculty members were always eager to assist, inspire, and lead by example. So that's just one of our kind of graduate success stories. I'm happy to share any more or answer any questions. But thank you so much for your time today, and just let me know if I can help. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for your question. So Tony's asked, are there student jobs within the campus that can help me earn while studying? Now, then you've said like research assistant. So where that's kind of not commonplace, it is possible, but most require a master's degree, so you wouldn't get it while you were studying. But we do have kind of opportunities within the university. We've got the Caledonian Club, and so a number of our students take on the role of student ambassadors, and they will kind of represent GCU to prospective students and school-age students. Education is funded in Scotland. Scottish Government fund places at undergraduate level. So we have a lot of school visits, nursery visits, and there's a lot of kind of opportunities to work for GCU. But also, as I said earlier, there are a lot of links with third sector and kind of charity organisations that provide paid placements. So there are kind of opportunities to explore. and I'm happy when when you're sure that you're coming. I can certainly send more information and student kind of experiences in those placement roles.
Thanks, Marissa. Hello. I just wanted to firstly say thank you for taking us through the presentation. It was great to get an overview of both courses, and also thank you. Tony's been submitting questions that you've covered, and to anyone else who's joined us today that perhaps hasn't had any questions yet, thank you for joining us, and please do feel free to ask those in the chat now while we're still here for a few moments. Of course, for Tony and any other students, if you do have questions after the webinar has finished, the support doesn't end here, so you can reach out to our student support team. You can get in touch with them by phone or email, and we'll be happy to help you throughout your journey to becoming a student if you need support with your application, or when it comes to that time for applying for your CAS, submitting deposits. We're here throughout, so don't be stuck after today, and please do get in touch. I don't see any more questions coming in, Marissa, so if we just give it another moment, and then we'll possibly end the webinar here. So if there's any other questions from everyone, now would be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly not coming in just now. So I guess we could say that we would end it here. And again, just thank you for your time today, everyone, and Marissa yourself, for taking us through that. And if you've got nothing else, I think we'll end the webinar here.
Yep. Just pop my email address, Tony, if you wanted to get in touch at any time. I'll pop it in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions that might come to you later. But thank you again, and thanks, Kate.